Hello everyone, Luke Blight here. So, off the bat, this review for Hell in a Cell is going to be pretty much different from all the other reviews I did because every match, minus the tag match, went exactly as I wanted it, or not as I wanted it, but how I predicted it would go. Roman Reigns retained his championship, big fucking shocker. Bayley did beat Dana Brooke, which I think alleviates how I feel about the match that I have off to the side there. Enzo Amore and Big Cass lost to Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, but both of those teams have been booked like shit, so nobody gave a fuck in the end. What else happened? Oh yeah, Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens won because of Jericho shenanigans, which I think is gonna bite Kevin Owens in the back later on, but that went about as I predicted it would. I figured some shenanigans would ensue, but at the end of the day, I figured Kevin Owens is probably going to retain. And I was okay with that. I was fine with that. Because I'm like, I don't think Seth Rollins is going to win. But it is what it is. So, that begs the question, like, who's going to contend with Kevin Owens now? If I had to take a gander, based on the tag match, I would argue maybe Cesaro, but that match was bullshit. Tag match was bullshit because, like, I get it. The New Day, they've held the tag titles for a long while. Excuse me, but the way they had this whole thing going, and yes, this is kind of because I expected it to go a certain way, and because it didn't, I was a little bit upset about that, but at the same time, I figured it was the right choice to make for Sheamus and Cesaro to be the odd team to win the tag titles. They didn't, because Sheamus went a little too trigger happy with hitting the trumpet on Kofi Kingston and I think it was Xavier Woods. So that was the thing. And any other match was kind of inconsequential. Oh yeah, that's right, there was a cruiserweight thing, but I don't give a fuck about the cruiserweights. Cruiserweights are nobody cares. At the end of the day, nobody fucking cares. But I guess if you want to know, Brian Kendrick won the title from TJ Perkins. So yeah, that's the thing. But here's the big, what's this going to be like? How is this going to play out? How is this going to be a thing? The Hell in a Cell Women's Championship match. And how did it play out? To give credit where credit is due, they both did some shit that I didn't think they would do. This match went a certain way that I didn't think it would go. And I didn't like the outcome at all. I thought the finish was absolute shit, but both of them deserve props for what they did in that match. They both deserve props. Now, at the very beginning of the match, I was like, if they go in this direction, I'm going to lose my fucking shit. But given the outcome, I was thinking, well, what was the point of not going in that direction in the first place? And the finish is what really got it for me. It's like, that's the one thing that held me back from saying that this was exactly what it should have been, because it wasn't. So to give you guys a synopsis, Sasha and Charlotte have their, like, basically WrestleMania entrance type deals going on. Sasha's carried on a big throne, and Sasha Banks rolls in on a car with, surrounded by like a posse of bodyguards. And so that thing's going on. The cell's being lowered, and then Charlotte attacks Sasha. Charlotte teases climbing the cell to the top, like how, the whole Foley Undertaker match went. Sasha pulls her down. They have a couple of bouts here and there, and then eventually gets to a point where Sasha starts pulling the announce table apart, and in the end, Charlotte powerbombs her through it, and the referees and everybody else is like, she's fucking done. I mean, well, the audience is like, what the fuck did I just see? Is this really it? And I was thinking, I'm like, they better pull a swerve, they better pull a fucking swerve, because realistically, I know that, like, Sasha's not fucking injured. She's not hurt. She's probably hurting, but she's not like, oh, my spine, it's done. No. And they almost did it, but once they said that, like, due to forfeit and blah, 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 Sasha got out of the stretcher that they were pulling around. I was like, oh, thank God. I was like, if you were going to go this way, you needed to go all the way. You didn't need to pull this, like, half-ass shit. Granted, the spot with her going through the table, that was good. Albeit it was a little, like, I'm about to lose my shit over this. I'm about to just fucking lose my goddamn mind, figuratively, over this because I'm like, what was the point then? What was the goddamn point? But that's even still a relevant question with how the match ended. So, anyways, you have some back and forth, and they pull out chairs, they pull out tables. Fuck, they go the full goddamn 9 yards. And again, I'm bitter about the ending. I'm very bitter about the ending. But I will give props for props of dude. Both of them, they're gonna go places because of this match. At least I hope they do. They better fucking damn well better go places because of this match. But at the same time, I think I have here's the saving grace. The Bayley versus Dana Brooke match. That is the saving grace for me for this match and this match's outcome. That is the saving grace because I feel like I know where they're going. And they better go that fucking direction. They better go that direction. If Charlotte holds the title from here until WrestleMania and loses it at WrestleMania, I will consider this match completely and utterly vindicated. 100% vindicated. Sasha Banks' career, however, will not be vindicated because of this match. And it has a lot. It does have to do with her injury, which is it's something that nobody could have helped. But at the same time, it's like you could have helped it here. You could have given her the win here. The next pay-per-view, she drops it to Charlotte because of Dana Brooke's shenanigans. So essentially, Charlotte did win. And after the match, I was like, okay, so Sasha Banks won the title the first time. On her first title defense, she was injured, hence she lost. She won the title again on Raw, like about a month later, from Charlotte. She gained the title back, so she's now a 2-time champion. But she lost it here. Why did she lose it here? Why did she need to lose here? If you would, here's what I could have believed. She retained here and lost it on Raw because of her injuries, or she just wasn't fully there. Here's the thing. Here's what I think should have happened. Charlotte should have essentially not taken too many spots, too many pain spots, or rather, she has better endurance than Sasha. That could have been demonstrated here. It's she had every opportunity to overcome Sasha, but in the back of her mind, it's okay, I can lose here and that'll be fine. All I care about is getting the title back. Therefore, I will lose this match and not risk serious injury and let Sasha risk serious injury. And I'll lose here tonight, but I'll rebound and say, you know what, I want a rematch. And I'm going to goad Sasha into accepting, which Sasha does accept the next night on Raw, and Sasha will lose that night because of injuries. That's how I would have done it. That way, Sasha gets the retaining win, and she wins the first Hell in a Cell match. Therefore, she adds that to her criteria, as well as Charlotte losing the streak. Charlotte is risking and losing pride. That's all she's really losing here. But she will gain what she covets the most. That's the title. At the end of the day, all she gives a shit about is the title. Because if we're going to take Charlotte as a realistic person, she will eventually lose at a 1v1 pay-per-view. Because she's 13-0 or some shit on pay-per-views. But she will eventually lose a pay-per-view match. And she, in the back of her mind, has to know that day will eventually come. It may not be today, it may be the next month, it may be the month after that, it may be whatever. But at the end of the day, all she really covets is hey, I want to be a 3-time women's champion. And I'm trying to explain, a theoretical scenario, but I just, Sasha can win the goddamn title, but she cannot retain it to save her goddamn life, and that's the big issue here. And I'm okay with, a big toss-up of the title, where it bounces from person to person, month to month between Sasha, Charlotte, and let's say Bayley and Dana Brooke. Although Dana Brooke got shot to the main roster a little too goddamn soon, but in a theoretical sense, Dana Brooke, I feel like they're shooting her for fucking, future big woman stardom. But let's say the title bounced, between the four of them for a while until somebody eventually just held onto it for a very long fucking time. And if that person, all right, that the person who that should have been Sasha Banks. Because out of the four of them, I feel like Sasha Banks has the most talent. When it comes to every fucking diva, every fucking woman, whatever, on the Raw roster, Sasha Banks has the most talent overall. Charlotte has, I would say, the second most. Bayley with a very, very, very close third. But overall, the three of them are very neck and neck when it comes to overall ability in the ring. They're very fucking good. I'm not taking anything away from any of them. Those three are the top ones right now. Dana Brooke needs to go back to NXT. She honestly does. Because she has athleticism, but she doesn't have in-ring skills. That's my thing with her. And I'm not saying that as like a diss on her. I'm saying that because I want her to succeed. I want her to do well. But just shooting her up to the main roster because she's athletic, that ain't going to do her any favors. That's not going to do people that want to like her any favors. And again, the whole end of this match left me feeling quite bitter because I was like, that's not how this should have gone. Because if Charlotte was going to win regardless, then what was the point of that beginning segment? What was the fucking point? That Sasha can get back in there and she can hold her own for a bit, but at the end of the day, she's still lost? What was the point? Because the way this whole thing was going, I was like, Sasha's going to win. Like, she has to because of the way this went. She has to win. And she deserves the win. And I'm not taking anything away from Charlotte. She can afford to lose tonight and win on Raw the next morning. Or the next night. That could have been a thing. But we went this direction with it. So I again beg the question, what was the point? That beginning segment. What was the point of that beginning segment? What was the point of Sasha almost forfeiting the match? Like, she may as well fucking forfeited it and saved us the fucking trouble. She may as well have. And again, I'm saying that from a bitter point of view. I'm not saying that, like, Charlotte didn't do well in this match. She did fucking great. They both did fucking great. It's the booking. That's the problem I have, is the way this was booked. So Sasha feigns a loss only to get back in and lose anyway. That's my problem with this. The way the booking was set up, Sasha should have won. Now, if you had it to where the cell was lowered completely and the two started beating the hell out of each other, yeah, it was a toss-up. Had Charlotte won, regardless of, had that whole beginning segment not happened, the match went as it went, and it eventually leaked outside of the cell, and Sasha went to the table, and they were like, well, it's like the referee's like unsure what to do, but Sasha's like, no, I'm good. No stretcher, none of that shit. Just, I'm good. She gets up, she beats on Charlotte a bit, and then they get back into the ring or into the cell and whatnot. Had Charlotte won through that type of scenario, I'd have been fine with that. I'd been like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, cool. But the wrong person won. I will say that. The wrong individual won this match. Charlotte should have lost. She should have. Especially since once that set was fully lowered and the match was on, she was the one that was fucking panicking like, shit, no, I'm not ready for this. I can't. No, I wanted to get the easy way out, but she still wins in the end anyways. What the fuck? Just the booking of this is where I'm kind of like pissed off. I'm not mad at Charlotte. She has absolutely nothing to do with this. It's the booking. It's the people that said or that made the certain calls as to how this should have gone down. That's where I'm pissed off at. Not pissed off, but bitter. Because I can't be pissed at this match because this match was good. It was fucking good. It was a great match. I was actually surprised at how much I enjoyed it. But at the same time, I'm like, the wrong person went over here. Now, granted, they both went over in their own way. It's not like Sasha's career is diminished because of this, but in a way it is because she's been able to win the championship, but she hasn't once retained it. So it's like, while Charlotte is 14-0 in pay-per-view one-on-ones, is she 14-0? Like, hasn't been that long, has it? Where was that fucking number coming from? All right, so she's undefeated in pay-per-views or some shit. But anyways, Sasha Banks is now 100% defeated when it comes to retaining a title. That's where the bitterness really comes from, is the fact that she cannot retain a title to save her fucking life. Now, she retained the NXT title a number of times, but that was NXT. This is the main roster, so I don't want to pull the Bruce Blitz card and say that backstage politics played a role, but it begs the question. It really does. And if they have a rematch, which Sasha Banks has her rematch clause, if they have a rematch tomorrow night, Sasha wins, what the fuck does that prove? Oh, okay, so Charlotte has the win, and she's now a 3-time champion, and now Sasha's a 3-time champion. So it begs the question, like, well, shit, statistically speaking, if we're going off of historical records, chances are the first person that gets in a solidified match with Sasha Banks, they're going to win the title. Because historically speaking, she can't retain that title to save her goddamn life. That's the conundrum WWE created tonight, is Sasha Banks can't retain a title to save her goddamn life. And that's the problem I have with this match. Had it been a triple threat and Charlotte pinned Bayley, all would have been vindicated. Or had it been a fatal 4-way and Dana Brooke and Charlotte were gaining up on people, and eventually Dana Brooke was taken out of the picture, and it was down to Sasha and Charlotte. Or rather, Charlotte and Bayley, or whatever the fuck. At least there were some other factors to where Sasha could say, well, shit happens. So, yeah. Was this pay-per-view good overall? Overall, this pay-per-view was a fucking garbage fest. Like, there were good matches, but overall, the pay-per-view was kind of a snore fest. And I guess that had to do with the fact that there were other things going on. Like, for some people, baseball was on, football was on. In my case, The Walking Dead was on. Therefore, I tuned out about an hour of this pay-per-view. But I had it playing along the side. It was up. Yeah, The Walking Dead came out when Ento and Cass were at the latter end of their promo, and they lost. And then it played through the Cruiserweight match, which I forgot was even going on. That should tell you how much I care about the Cruiserweight. But, I mean, I guess fucking Brian Kendrick won. Yay, woohoo, whatever. Don't give a shit. I'm not emotionally invested in that match. I was more emotionally invested in the U.S. title match, which the Hell in a Cell matches themselves are, well, the two that we, are typical. Like, the women's one, that was good. That was probably the best match overall. But the U.S. title one was okay. It wasn't bad. It was just okay. The WWE title one, yeah. Actually, it was a cruiserweight. Or no, it was the Enzo Amore and all that other shit. Then it was the WWE title. Then it was the cruiserweight title. I missed, I think, about 2/3 of the Seth Rollins Kevin Owens match for the not the WWE title, the fucking Universal title. I missed about 2/3 of that match. But I kind of already had an idea in the back of my mind of like who was going to win. It was going to be Kevin Owens, and I assumed like, well, it's Hell in a Cell, so Jericho's probably going to have a role to play. Otherwise, that might be the big, suspense of disbelief that Seth Rollins might actually win. But I was like, kind of called it, so I'm not surprised. I don't feel like I really missed all that much, so it is what it is. But overall, this pay-per-view was the. And if I have to be honest, since they're now 2-2 because SmackDown's had Backlash and No Mercy, Raw has had Clash of Champions and Hell in a Cell. SmackDown's done better with its pay-per-views overall. Now, the whole Becky Lynch thing, like, if we're to take away, the whole, like, well, what about the women's division? I mean, WWE Raw had the whole Hell in a Cell thing. Well, to be fair to SmackDown, Becky was apparently injured, and Sasha's been injured before. Her lower back or whatever injury she had when she first won the title. Which, again, is a fucking blemish. It's such a blemish. I mean, it's something nobody could have helped. I'm not faulting anyone for it. It's just it's something there. It's like, I wish you weren't there. I wish that didn't happen. But at the end of the day, even if that injury didn't happen, it's like, how long term of a champion do they plan on Sasha being? Because she just lost tonight. Now, I mean, that is to say, maybe she did suffer a legitimate injury, and that's why they had an impromptu decision to say that Charlotte wins. And if that comes up, then okay, this whole video will be not largely pointless, but largely my entire opinion about it will be saying, like, well, she was injured. It's like, okay, yeah, she was injured. Shit happens. All right, Charlotte won. That's fine then. Can't help injuries. I mean, that shit happens. And they happen a lot, which is something WWE should probably take note of when it comes to house shows and how many shows they do on a weekly basis. Like, have you stopped to consider that maybe the health and well-being of your performers may be in jeopardy because you put on too many fucking shows? Maybe you should slow down a little bit. Maybe you should do less shows. Do different shows with different people. Just a thought. I don't like seeing these people get injured because I know they want to entertain people and I know they want to do their thing, but when injuries get in the way, it's like sometimes you just got to hang up the boots and say, I can't. Because if I do, the doctors have said that I might risk paralysis, I might risk death. That's something I want WWE to get to their fucking heads. Because this injury epidemic that they have, it's still ongoing. It's still a thing. Finn Balor, Sasha Banks, they're the latest two victims of it. And Sasha Banks just came back from it. Finn Balor, I think, is going to be out for a while. Hideo Itami is going to be out for a while. So it's something to think about. It's like, well, maybe we should slow down with how many shows we're booking these people in. That I would say, no fucking shit, dumbasses. Maybe you should slow the fuck down. Let these people get their rest. Let these people rest a bit. Instead of fucking throwing every goddamn show up to the fucking moon. Well, because of your fucking network that you want to succeed. If your network's going to succeed, it's going to succeed. Because if you constantly lose people, well, what network is there to speak of, eh? Alright, well, anyways, this has been 22 minutes of me talking about basically one match. So, with that being said, folks, I've been Luke Blight. This has been my review-ish of WWE Raw's Hell in a Cell. If I had to give the show an overall grade, it'd be a C+. C+. It wasn't disappointing. It's just nothing unexpected happened except for the main event's ending, which was bittersweet. Not even bittersweet, it was just bitter. It was a great match. Actually, yeah, it was bittersweet because it was a great match with a very bitter ending. So, bittersweet. Yes, it was great. Both women busted their asses and they delivered a good show, but that ending was But again, if Sasha was legitimately injured in the middle of that match for whatever reason, and it's like, all right, Charlotte, you get the win because Sasha's like basically dead on arrival. Then I'll be like, okay, shit happened you couldn't control, so therefore I forgive you. Otherwise, if it's just, oh, yeah, Charlotte was booked to win because Charlotte's the best and blah, 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 then I'm going to be like, fuck you. Fuck you. So anyway, folks, let me know what you thought down below. I've been Luke Blight. This has been WWE Hell in a Cell, or WWE's Raw. Fucking hell. Raw Hell in a Cell 2016. Anyway, folks, see you all for whatever video I upload next.